Okay, so we're going to do part 2 of converting to TIFFs in a batch function from the raw to a TIFF file, or potentially other formats. I like PNGs, lossless, and easy to handle, especially when working with figures and such. So we did the X and Y's, and now we're just going to go ahead and bring in the macro and have a look at what I've had before here. And we're going to take out the Z projection. It's going to do a maximum intensity projection to project our Z stacks, which is nice. So we're going to project it, and then we're going to turn it into a picture, and it's going to save it. So let's save that there. Process, batch, and then batch macro, and I've already pulled that one in from before, so it's exactly the same with the run, but you can always open it again. It's good to potentially open the file to make sure you're dealing with the most current one. We're going to put in just cells to ignore the ImageJ macro, and we'll go ahead and process that. And it runs pretty quick, and you'll see a little progress bar up there. And then we can see here that the Z stacks came out well, but now the XYs have been converted into color, into a grayscale, and you can see that if you look at them, that the colors have been projected across the channels, because it's trying to do a projection. It doesn't see the Z, it just projects across the channels instead. So it's not ideal. So it can't really be done for both without some tweaks. What you can do is just separate your data into 2Ds or 3Ds, and then use the Z project or turn off the Z project and do it separately. If you want to, you can be a little bit more clever and add a function into the set channels macro. If you go to the actual help menu here, there's a list of macro functions. I use this to reference a lot. It's a very basic old school website, but it's a huge resource for sort of getting rolling. And it's stack is hyperstack is what you can use to use that one, to kind of think on the fly. So see if we can implement that. Recent editions of Fiji come with auto kind of suggest. So just to test it, we're going to put in print, and you can see that it's got the print options there, and you can get to some of the help. And we're going to put in stack is hyperstack, and that's in there, and we'll end it like that, and we'll save that file. So just to test it out, just to make sure it does what we think it does, we'll take an XY file and open that up, and we'll take a Z stack and open that one up. So we'll start with a Z stack here, and we'll Control and Shift and R on that selection just to run that part of code, and the log tells us 1, so that's is hyperstack is true, and we'll pick this one and Control Shift and R and see 0. So hyperstack is not true. So this is basically saying if it's just channels, it's not a hyperstack, and this channels and Z is considered to be a hyperstack. It's difficult when you run into cases where we have time lapse as well. So let me know if you run into issues and you want to just pick out, let's say, a particular frame. You could pick stack, set frame, and just do one frame from a time lapse. And there's loads of options of what you can do with these to then save certain things for presentations without having to manually go through. But do let me know, and we can run through tutorials on any weird and wonderful macros that you might need. So I've added that one there. So now what we want to do is we're going to use this part and put in the if option. Let's see if it auto suggests an if. So that's pretty cool. If, and then the expression, it will do this, and then otherwise it will do something else. So we'll go ahead and put that one in. If the expression here, I'm going to cut that out and put it in here. If it is a hyperstack, then we should go ahead and do a Z project. When you hit return, it adds these little brackets that can encompass what you want to do if it's true, and we'll just cut that one out, put it in there. So let's just I can't drag and drop here, just cut and paste. So now we can, hopefully with this particular setup, we can, if it is a hyperstack, then we can do the projection. If not, just carry on as normal. So we'll save that one. Let's get these ones out of the way, and we'll do batch macro again. Let's open the macro just to make sure, and we see it is in there. We'll do cells again, and you don't always need this, you can just be organized in other ways, and then hit process, and we'll see how the results come out, and we'll go with that. And now we have pictures that look correct for both scenarios. I would also suggest maybe going with the PNGs. I'm a big fan of PNGs. They are lossless, like I say, and you don't run into issues with the different types of TIFFs. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and I can help you with macros and doing all sorts of things for automating your output and not having to go click, click, click too many times.